Everybody, this is Linda Israel, and today I'm going to show you how I use the challenge of using a puzzle piece in a piece of art. I'm using a puzzle that I picked up for $1 at a dollar store, and I'm painting it with Making Memories acrylic paint. It's just a green, and on the back side I took a piece of paper and just glued it in place so that the puzzle wouldn't fall apart after I assembled the puzzle piece. I painted 2 coats of green over the puzzle, which I felt was plenty for the project that I was doing, and then I set it aside to dry. I used a piece of the scroll from the grunge board of Tim Holtz. I kind of like the way that the scroll looked, and again I'm using now a kind of a goldenrod color from Making Memories, just sponging it on the piece of chipboard. I'm using mat board cut to 6x6, and I'm using Aleene's tacky glue or craft glue, and I'm using scrapbook paper that was cut to 6x6. It has glitter on it. I bought a piece of the mat board when it was on sale at half price, and then I had them cut it into 12-inch segments so that I could cut it on my smaller paper cutter at home. I'm using a page out of an old book. It's probably an old Reader's Digest that I used for an altar book, and I saved the pages and just put it in my paper stash. Now I'm painting it with some of the gold paint just to give a little bit of interest to it. I had a piece of scrap paper just set aside, so I just picked it up, and that's what I stamped the dream on. And I'm not positive. I think the dream is from a company that I've met at one of the stamp conventions. If I remember the name, I'll put it on here later. I decided to distress the edges or ink the edges with my distressed ink pad. And all of this project probably took me about 25 minutes to make. I just sped it up so that we would have plenty of time to have it here on YouTube. I sanded the edge. I have these little sanding blocks that I got from a company that is no longer in business called TLC, but I kept the little blocks because they're very handy. After I sanded the edges just a little bit, I went around it with my distressed ink pad to give it some color. I really like this paper. It's really pretty and glittery. I like the gold and the green that it had in there. I decided that the puzzle piece was still kind of dull looking, so I used my glitter glue and then sprinkled glitter over the top. I used way too much glitter glue, and I think for this project I probably should have just used regular glue or maybe some of the glue from Ranger, because it's clear and it wouldn't have another color in it, because this gave it kind of an iridescent look, which looks okay I guess, but it wasn't what I was really going for. And then the glitter that I have here is just some inexpensive glitter that I got in the hobby department. I just set that aside to dry for a few minutes while we were filming this. Sometimes filming for YouTube and trying to do this on the fly is harder to do than it is if you to let things set aside for a moment to cure. Again, I grabbed another piece of paper from my scrap pile because I thought that that didn't look really good, and I thought, well, I'll add this piece of scrap paper. Don't throw your scraps away. You never know when you could use them. By the way, I got a new video camera. I hope you guys like the new video. That hopefully it's clearer. I'm still learning how to use it. If you want to know more about it, just leave me a note and I'll tell you what kind of camera it is and where I got it and whatnot. I decided that I just wanted to go ahead and keep the silver of the book plate, that I didn't want to change it. I'll just punch a hole and add it using the little mini brads that I have. Sometimes those little mini brads are harder to work with than you think. That's why I like to use my awl to help spread the prongs open. Sometimes they're a little hard on your fingers. One thing that I didn't show on the video is after I finished the project, I end up cutting another piece of cardboard for the back that I punched holes in and put a piece of wire in, so this could be hung, or you can set it in an easel. So it's still a finished, complete art piece from the front and the back. Sometimes I mix hot glue and white glue. Again, I don't think hot glue is permanent because it can get warm or hot and then your item can slide right off of your artwork. So it's good for some things, but if it's going to be artwork and it could possibly get warm, you may not want to use only hot glue. The flowers, some of them are silk flowers that I picked up at a local hobby store, and then I punched some of the others and then textured them with my stylus tool so they would stand out just a little bit. There's so much more I could do now that I'm looking at this for the second time. But when you're making stuff, sometimes you're more concentrated on one thing than you are another. The little bitty flowers are silk flowers that I picked up in the wedding department, and I'm just rubbing them over an ink pad just to give them a little bit of color so they're not just white, and spreading them apart to make them look nice. The butterfly is from one of my other techniques that I made, and I'm gluing it down. After I got it glued down, I realized that I wanted to stamp the swirl background all on the back of that, so I just covered things up and did the best I could with what I had. I hope you like it. It was something fun. I tried to dry the glitter just a little bit. It was still very, very wet and a little bit on the teal side as opposed to green. But I thought it turned out pretty. It looks better today than it did the day of that I made it. But I hope you like it. It gives you something to think about, dream about, inspire for. Please comment, leave a message below, subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.